I can still remember the first time somebody said to me, "You're losing your hair." Obviously it's friends, that's the sort of thing they do to you. I was 17 years old. I was devastated, I was depressed, and from then on I've been obsessed about getting my hair back. By the time I was 21, the hair had receded quite a lot in the crown, and I really wanted to do something about it. So that was the first time that I got involved with hair transplants. Now in those days, I'm talking a long time ago, the only thing available was plug grafts. If only I'd known what was coming along later. But I wanted my hair back then, so I went for it. It was a pretty crude technique back then, and the hair didn't grow naturally, and it left a pretty bad mess at the back of your head. It's a completely different technique than what we have today. Unfortunately, the hair didn't grow naturally. It looked like doll's hair when it grew through. So the plug graft hair, that sort of short term filled in the crown, even though it wasn't, didn't look very natural. That lasted for a few years, and then of course my hair kept thinning, and so I probably made the biggest mistake of my hair career in that I went for what is known these days as a hair system, but if you want to call it something else, it's a wig. So I contacted this company, went and had a consultation with them, and the guy sitting opposite me, he had a fantastic head of hair, and he told me he'd had the same procedure done, and I thought, wow, this is fantastic. Things have really moved on from plug grafts. It wasn't until I paid all the money up front and sat down to start the treatment that they brought out this horrendous looking wig. Anyway, I paid all the money, I decided to go with it, but I wish I'd never had. I stuck that for 2 years. One of the problems with it is every month you had to go back and have it removed, and it had to be recoloured and refitted. It was constantly paying out money. I felt paranoid that everybody knew about it, which of course they did because you had a sudden change of appearance. I stuck that for 2 years, and then that was enough. I had to do something else, and that's when I came back to transplants. So after 2 years of what I would say suffering the wig, I decided I couldn't put up with this anymore. So I looked around, investigating what else was available, and found out that hair transplants had moved on a lot from the old plug grafts. FUT was now available, and I decided that that's what I wanted to go for. I wanted my own natural hair back. Because of the plug grafts, my donor area was depleted quite considerably. Even though I'd only had 500 grafts with the plug grafts, it had wiped out a big area. So they got a limited amount of hair, but it was still my hair. It looked much more natural. It was able to fill in around the old plugs, and finally I could get rid of the wig and have my own hair back. I wanted to have a new lower front hairline. All the work in the past had been more concentrated in the crown, again filling in with plug grafts that I had in the past. So the new front hairline makes a big difference to people, I think. It sort of frames the face, it gives a more youthful look, and thanks to better techniques, more skilled surgeons, the Vinci Hair Clinic was able to give me, even with my limited donor hair, a pretty good count and what I feel is a nice front hairline for me. If only I hadn't had the plug grafts, which as I say has damaged my donor hair, the wig, which also damaged hair on top of the scalp, I would have a much fuller head of hair today. But I feel, even with my limited donor hair, because of the FUT techniques that we have today, somebody who would be completely bald, I've got a reasonable head of hair, so I'm very happy with it. My advice to somebody who's losing their hair would be, come in and see Vinci for a free consultation. There are a lot more things available to people today that weren't available to me when I first started. There are medications that can help you keep your hair. There are techniques that can put back your hair and it looks natural. So if you're worried about losing your hair, there's things that can be done now. So come in and see Vinci, see what can be done for you.